Hi, it is Saturday, May 8th. Happy early Mother's Day if Sydney drops this today. Happy Mother's Day if she drops it tomorrow. And I'm sorry I'm late if she drops it on Monday. We are headed to the airport. We just finished our very first mock half Ironman race. Everything is canceled, and so the races we had scheduled for this time are postponed. So we got together and did one on our own. I just wanted to give you, our thoughts and recollections and let you know how it went. So the plan is to do, we did the one today in Athens, and then we're doing the next one next week in Jacksonville. So we will do 2 races in 8 days. Megan, what did you think about the swim?
So our swim was 1.2 miles in Coach Slayer's neighborhood lake. Pretty chilly, but the water was warmer than the air, so that was good. Overall, I think it went pretty well. Wore our wetsuits to stay a little warmer. I wore one with sleeves. Tested out the new sleeveless wetsuit from Sam. Don't really have any more to say about that.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I hadn't gone sleeveless before, but I'd recommend it. It didn't have the weight of the sleeve full of water, so it helped, and I'd still stayed plenty warm. I couldn't feel my toes, but that is not a wetsuit problem. And so you guys know, the lake is the retention pond for the neighborhood, but not the most disgusting water I've ever swam in. So, as retention ponds go, 2 thumbs up. Billy, how'd you like the bike?
So the bike was 56 miles. We had a goal of doing the bike in no less than 3.5 hours, no more than 4 hours. So the purpose of that was our whole training of doing these races is so that you can finish this race and not be exhausted. So if you go out on the bike real hard, then that makes you more tired on the run. So the whole point was to do a relatively slow bike so that we could have plenty of energy for the run and then finish the run with energy. It's fine to be tired but not be exhausted, because if we're going to do multiple races, then we need to conserve energy for future races. So 56-mile bike ride. We actually did it in 3 hours and 31 minutes or something like that, so almost perfect to our low time for the goal. The things that stand out to me, I guess, are in a typical race, you would have police presence that would block intersections. The course isn't usually closed, so maybe you would have some cars on the course, but not usually too many. And this race, this 56-mile ride, was more like a typical training ride where you're dealing with traffic a lot. You have to stop at the stoplights, stop at the stop signs if you got cross traffic, that kind of stuff. So it did take us longer to do that because of those stops. So you would have come to 0 miles an hour, whereas in a typical race, there's not very many places where you come to 0 miles an hour. We stayed together the whole time. That was the plan too. We'll all do the same pace, so that as a group, because when you're biking out in the open, you want to be safe, and the closer you stay together, the more the cars recognize that you're a group, and hopefully give you more space.
Do you want to talk about your method if cars come too close?
Yeah, so if you're a car and you come too close to me, you get a thumbs down. So you just get a thumbs down. That seems to actually work better than the middle finger. I think people get offended at the middle finger, but you give them a thumbs down and they're like, "Oh, wow, I did something I shouldn't have done."
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah. So there are situations where that happens, and typically the worst situations are there's oncoming traffic and cars want to pass you, and either they don't time it right or they don't care or whatever the reason is, so they come pretty close to you because they have to stay fully in the lane. They can't get over because there's oncoming traffic. That happens. It's not often that happens. Maybe on this ride there were a half a dozen cars or so that did that total out of the 56 miles. So the vast majority of the cars gave us plenty of space. We're super courteous, and we're super courteous.
So we got off the bike and started our run, and I think Billy chose the most hilly course he could find. He actually had to go out of his way to find some hills. But we did it. It was good. We stayed together on the run. Had a very good pace there. I think we finished with like a 2:20 half marathon. So that was fantastic. We were excited about that. Not much to say.
So on the run, first of all, Sam's used to flat Florida roads. So any little molehill is like some mountain to him. But there are hills on this run. I wouldn't call it the most strenuous run we've ever done. I mean, there's some race courses that have more hills than this. But the purpose of the entire race, or the goal, I suppose, was let's finish this race in around 7 hours. So you have a total of 8 hours to finish a race. So what does it feel like to finish a race in 7 hours? As opposed to we weren't trying to set a PR or go super fast, because again, we're trying to save energy. So what does it feel like to do a race in 7 hours? And on my watch, which I did stop at one time during the halfway point of the bike, where we stopped and did like a sag stop. But my watch said like 6 hours and 58 minutes, I think, was the finishing time. Megan's watch, she didn't stop it at all. What did it say?
And it said 7 hours and 6 minutes.
So that was pretty, we took some super long transitions. We stopped on the run, we stopped at the water stops, and took breaks or whatever. So I think it was the 2:20, including the water stops, or no?
It included everything except the middle sag stop.
Okay. So again, the purpose was to not blow it out, but the run for me, I have to go back and look, but it's quite possible that runs a PR for a run after a bike in a half Ironman. Maybe not, but I certainly felt like the pace was race pace, and I didn't feel like the effort was race effort. I felt like we were, for me, I felt like I was holding back, which is encouraging. I mean, I hope that's, and a lot of that's probably because we didn't, go super hard on the bike.
And Charlotte and Sydney were our guides, I guess, today, Sherpas today. They were unbelievably fantastic, so thank you both very much. That was hugely helpful. Everywhere we needed food, you were there, so thank you guys.
One thing to keep in mind, too, is that the temperature was relatively low. That probably not the lowest temperature I've ever done a race in, but certainly one of the lowest temperature races. And heat, I do not do well in the heat. So those summer races are going to be a challenge for me.